Okay, Noah, can you tell me your full name and number?
My name is Noah, I'm number 6.
What are some of the muscle groups utilized in a back squat?
Some of the muscle groups utilized are your hamstrings, your quadriceps, and your gluteus maximus.
What are some of the techniques that you must take note of?
Some of the techniques that you must take note of is firstly, go on a bar and lift it up on your shoulders. Make sure that you have an even pronator grip, slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Make sure that your legs are shoulder width apart. As you go down, flex your knees until your thighs are parallel to the ground before extending back your knees and return back to standing position. Breathe in when flexing your knees and breathe out when extending your knees.
What are some of the variation exercises?
Some of the variation exercises are front squat, dynamic lunges, and lateral lunges.
And what are some of the safety precautions?
Some of the safety precautions is you must keep your back straight at all times. Make sure that you do weights that you're comfortable with. Make sure that you have one spotter at each end of the bar, and do not let your knees exceed your toe level.
Okay, Noah, can you tell me what are the muscle groups utilized in a bench press?
The muscle groups utilized are your biceps, your triceps, and your pectorals.
What are some of the techniques that you must take note of?
Some of the techniques that you must take note of is lie on the bench with your back straight. Make sure that you grab the bar in a pronator grip and slightly wider than shoulder width apart before lifting up. When you're lifting up, position the bar around your chest, and before flexing your knees and bringing it down. So flexing your elbows and bringing it down, and then extend back your elbows and bring it up. Breathe in when flexing your elbows and breathe out when extending your elbows.
What are some of the variation exercises?
Some of the variation exercises are your dumbbell bench press, your push-ups, and your chest flies.
And what are some of the safety precautions?
Some of the safety precautions that you must take note of is that you must make sure that you have one spotter at each end of the bar, and make sure that you do weights that you're comfortable with.
Okay, Noah, can you tell me what are muscle groups utilized in a lunge?
The muscle groups utilized in a lunge is your gluteus maximus, your quadriceps, and your hamstrings.
What are some of the techniques that you must take note of when doing a lunge?
Some of the techniques that you must take note of is firstly, go on a bar, let it rest comfortably on your shoulders before lifting it up. Take a few steps back, raise your right knee and take a big step forward. Bend both knees and deep. Make sure bend both knees and deep, and before returning back to standing position. Make sure that the thigh that you thrust forward with is parallel to the ground, and breathe in when extending. Breathe in when lunging forward, and breathe out when returning back to standing position.
What are some of the variation exercises?
Some of the variation exercises are your lateral lunges, your dumbbell lunges, and your barbell lunges.
And what are some of the safety precautions?
Some of the safety precautions are that you must keep your back straight at all times. Make sure that you have at least one supporter at each end of the bar, and make sure that you do weights that you're comfortable with.
Okay, Noah, can you tell me what are the muscle groups utilized in a push press?
The muscle groups utilized in the push press are your biceps, your triceps, and your deltoids.
What are some of the techniques that you must take note of?
Some of the techniques that you must take note of is that firstly, you must go under a barbell, let it rest comfortably on your shoulders before lifting up. Take a few steps back and flex your knees slightly and and push the bar up in an explosive manner by extending your elbows and your knees. When flexing your knees slightly, breathe in, and when extending your elbows and your knees, breathe out.
What are some of the variation exercises?
Some of the variation exercises are your military press and your shoulder press.
And what are some of the safety precautions?
Some of the safety precautions are that make sure that you have at least one support. Make sure they have one supporter at each end of the bar. And when you explode up, make sure that they help you bring it down for you. Do weights that are comfortable with.
Okay,
And make sure that your back is straight.
Okay, Noah, can you tell me what is the relevance of the exercises that you have chosen to your sport in tennis?
For dynamic lunges, when you do dynamic lunges, you can easily, you have a better stability, and that you can move forward to the ball as you are able to lunge forward to the ball more quickly and more readily. For your back squat, you are able to you make use of your quadriceps so that you can run sideways faster and better, so to retrieve the ball. And when you have a stable position, you're able to hit the ball with better accuracy. For bench press, you're able to it makes you make uses of your biceps, your triceps, and your pectorals, so that you can thrust forward to the ball, move it forward to the ball with more force and power. And for your push press, you're able to for serving. It helps you for your serving, as it helps you to jump higher and hit the ball down, so that you can ace the opponent.